This is the MMA Brief Podcast, recapping the world of mixed martial arts every single week, with your host, Brandon Johansson.
Welcome back to the MMA Brief, episode 46, up in this bitch. Coming off, arguably, people are saying, the best UFC pay-per-view of all time. I'm not sure if I'm one of those people quite yet. It was a phenomenal card. And we're going to start at the very first fight on the Fight Pass prelims. Started about 7 o'clock Eastern Time, where Firas Zahabi, the head trainer of Georges St-Pierre, was making his second octagon appearance. Got caught with a vicious spinning back elbow by Ricardo Hamas. He threw it once, stunned him, threw it again, completely knocked unconscious. So I was instantly thinking, how is this going to factor in mentally for the head coach of the main event fighter, Georges St-Pierre? So it was a phenomenal finish right out the gate, first fight, spinning back elbow knockout. Then you had the second fight of the Fight Pass prelims, Alexei Oleinik, who had an impressive victory over Travis Browne, gets beat down by Curtis Blaydes, but in New York fashion, there's always controversy. Curtis Blaydes threw an illegal kick, only grazed his ear with his toe. They stopped the fight because he was fucked up. Oleinik was, from Blaydes' ground and pound. Ended up stopping the fight, but then awarding Blaydes the winner. So it was just weird. The doctor said he couldn't continue. Doctor stoppage victory for Curtis Blaydes in the second fight. Third fight. This one was on the Fox Sports 1 prelims. The first fight, Randy Brown against Mickey Gall. Gall, known for beating the WWE superstar CM Punk, and then the Dana White looking for a fight star Sage Northcutt. Got grounded and pounded for the majority of the fight, and Randy Brown got the decision victory. Mickey Gall was a bloody mess. Randy Brown, really impressive, got takedowns easily, wasn't afraid of going there where Mickey Gall is very good with his jiu-jitsu. Ovin St. Peru earned a performance of the night with his head kick knockout of Corey Anderson. Brutal head kick, left high kick, set it up, instantly knocked unconscious. Highlight reel material for Ovin St. Peru. And interesting enough, he got a $25,000 performance of the night. There's actually 5 performance of the nights instead of the standard 4. It's usually 4 at $50K. That's the payout, typically. But there was 3 50s and 2 25s. I split it up like that. Just an FYI. Another fight that ended in controversy. Walt Harris versus Mark Godbeer. There was a groin shot. The referee was coming in to say, stop, stop, stop. And Walt Harris continued in the action and kicked Godbeer in the face. So he got nut-shotted. He was trying to walk away from that and then got kicked in the face while the ref was trying to stop it. Doctors come in. Fight's over. Mark Godbeer by disqualification because Walt Harris threw that kick. It's just a New York theme. I'm like, oh, great. This is how this fucking fight, this is how it's going to be. It's just New York, their bullshit and weird doctor stoppages. But it's probably, I guess, the right call. And in the feature bout of the FS1 prelims, James Vick earned a stoppage victory in the second round. Right at the conclusion of the round, 4 seconds left, against Joe Duffy. First time Irish Joe Duffy has been stopped by knockout in his career. Excellent fight, and that was James Vick's 3rd consecutive stoppage win. Moving to the pay-per-view, which was just all sorts of hype behind it. Madison Square Garden, a lot of history. First fight, you got the returning Johnny Hendricks, former welterweight champion, fighting at middleweight now, 185 pounds, against a guy who looks substantially bigger than him. Basically looks like a Greek god compared to Johnny Hendricks. And now he's changed his name. He was Paulo Borrachina. Very hard to pronounce. No one knew how to say it. But now he's come out, and he's now Paulo Costa. It's Johnny Hendricks versus Paulo Costa. And you could tell at the weigh-ins the size advantage for Paulo. The fight was not pretty. Paulo Borrachina getting the TKO stoppage in round 2. It just was a beatdown. And it was hard to even recognize Johnny Hendricks. I thought he looked better on his feet than he has in his losses to Tim Boesch and Wonderboy. He's up a weight class. He looked very undersized and got smoked really early. Wasn't feeling great about the pay-per-view at this point. I'm like, I hate the matchup. You put an undefeated fighter like Paulo Costa, now we're calling him, against a former champion. What good could this come from it? Unless you're trying to make this guy look really amazing, which it did. Then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Jorge Masvidal. Big fan of both people. Love them both. It's a decent fight. Wonderboy got the decision over Jorge Masvidal. Nothing too crazy. It's a good fight. Very good strategic fight for Wonderboy. Then we get into the title fights. 3 title fights in the night. Joanna Jędrzejczyk defending her 115-pound title against Rose Namajunas. Talking a lot of shit, saying the Boogie Woman was coming for her. And Rose stuns everybody with a left hook that drops the champion, and she pounds her out right before Joanna could break Ronda Rousey's title defense record and become the most dominant champion ever. Rose stops her in the first round. So boom, it just hit everybody. This is crazy. We got a new champion. Rose is phenomenal. She's very dangerous. Does Joanna deserve a rematch after she defended her title so many times? I believe so. And that's probably a fight people want to see, given that it was ended in the first round. If it wouldn't have been a back and forth war and Rose would have won, then people would be like, oh, she definitely deserves a rematch. But since she smoked her in the first round, people are like, well, she doesn't deserve a rematch. She was a very dominant champion, and I think there's something to that. If you're a dominant champion, sometimes you deserve a rematch if you get smoked in the first round. Because you're going to come back knowing, I definitely can't get smoked in the first round. I don't know. I like that when you give a dominant champion a rematch immediately, but we'll see what happens, and we'll see who Rose fights. She's the new champion at strawweight. Moving to the matchup I've been waiting for months and months and months. Seems like the whole year. Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight title. Great action. I loved it. TJ was missing with a lot of kicks early. He's throwing a lot out there. I really loved his movement. I like watching him move back and forth. And I like watching Cody. His hands are so fucking fast. He was throwing kicks out there as well. Not a lot of wrestling. Maybe one shot from TJ in the first round. But right around the 10-second tap, TJ gets stunned with the right hand. Drops to the ground. Cody jumps all over him. TJ pops back up just in time for the bell, the horn to ring. And TJ's noticeably wobbly. He's like going back to his corner. He doesn't quite have his feet underneath him. Gets down. His coach, Dwayne Bang Ludwig's like, blast the fucking kicks. You don't have to set everything up. He's saying, blast the fucking kicks. I was getting pumped up. I'm like, blast those fucking kicks. So he comes out. Doesn't look hurt at all after getting stunned in that first round. Right at the end. It looked like it was over. And then TJ lands a head kick. Round 2. Drops Cody. Cody gets back up. And then TJ lands the right hand. Boom! Drops him. Pounds him out. The way he put his knee over his right arm so he couldn't defend himself and was punching him. It was a beautiful finish. New bantamweight champion. So we have 2 new champions. Incredible fight. TJ saying Cody definitely doesn't deserve a rematch, and I agree, because when you look at who deserves a rematch, Cody had no defenses of his title, and TJ feels like he never lost his belt because it was a split decision lost against Dominic Cruz, how he was not the champion. He had to work his way back up, fight 2 tough contenders to get back to the title. He feels Cody should have, do the similar path. TJ is really pushing for a fight against Mighty Mouse, who has the most title defenses of any UFC champion. And I'd love to see that fight. I think they should do a super fight, probably 130 pounds. I like that idea, like no belt on the line. 2 champions fighting at a catch weight, 130 pounds, meeting in the middle. Demetrius going up to 125, 135. In the main event, George St. Pierre successfully made his return and defeated Michael the Count Bisping in round 3, becoming the 4th ever UFC fighter to hold a title in 2 different weight classes. It was incredible. First round, after taking 4 years off, he looked pretty good. Thick, very thick. Pressed forward, landed some good jabs. Round 2, he took Bisping down, but Bisping got up quickly and he established more of a rhythm, and it kind of looked like George was slowing down. Didn't like what I was saying. Round 3, George took him down. Elbows from Bisping off his back. Cut George in 2 spots. Big ones, he's bleeding. Bisping gets back up. Face is a complete mess. George St. Pierre's. A mask of blood. And I'm not feeling good about it because he was just looking tired. He gets the takedown. He gets cut up. He lands a left hook that drops Michael Bisping. Lands some vicious elbows from the guard. Tito Ortiz style or whatever. Eventually, Bisping gives him a slight opening. He takes his back, rear naked choke, completely unconscious. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited for the return. 3 new champions. First time in the UFC's history that 3 titles have changed hands in the same night. If you think about it, having 3 title fights on a card is rare. And usually when it does happen, it's all decisions. But 3 new fucking champions. It was incredible. So you think about everything that goes on with that. Who's TJ going to fight? Who's Rose going to fight? Who's George going to fight? Is he going to even continue to fight at 185 pounds? Or is he going to go back down and fight at 170 pounds? His home, where he had 9 title defenses, against the new king, Tyron Woodley. That would be an amazing fight. I don't like him at 185 personally. He looked like thick as shit. But that gassing in the second round, I was like, you can't gas against Luke Rockhold. You can't gas against a lot of these 185-pounders. But moving on to this week's card, should be a doozy. They've lined them up here, of course, headlined by Anthony Pettis and Dustin Poirier. But you got Matt the Immortal Brown and Diego Sanchez, a Lionheart, making his return. Andrei Arlovsky fighting some guy. Nate Marquardt versus Cesar Fajeda. Rafael Assunção on the card. You got Joe Lozon versus Clay Guida. John Dodson versus Sergio Moraes. Sage Northcutt. Angela Hill. They're all on the card. This weekend is going to be good. Fox Sports 1 is where you can find all the fights I just said. Personally can't wait. There are some fights on the Fight Pass. Court McGee. A couple other motherfuckers. So, check it out. We're going to talk about that next week and preview the next fight. And I'm going down to Detroit soon. Oh, I'm going down to Detroit. UFC 218 from Little Caesars Arena. I cannot wait personally. Peace.